So we'll go ahead and starting today's practice from a comfortable seat, whatever that means or looks like for you. Always an option to lay all the way out or all the way down if you prefer instead, kind of as a starting place. Just to get grounded, to find the earth here. We can spend so much of our time basically like feet above the ground, and just taking a little bit of time today to plant ourselves into the earth and remind ourselves that we are kind of earthbound creatures. We belong here, close to the earth, close to source, close to mother. So finding that way for you to connect in. You can be a kneeling position, a cross-legged seat position, or anything that feels comfortable to you. You can use a little bit of cushion underneath you, a blanket, or even like a throw pillow can be a nice seat. Finding that space for you to kind of start to get comfortable, starting to find the posture that you like to start with today. Maybe rolling the shoulders back and down a little bit here. Taking a lift through the crown of the head, maybe extending the back of the neck and keeping a light tuck on the chin toward the chest. The eyes can be closed or gently cast down, maybe softening the gaze. Allowing yourself to start to feel what you notice of the body in touch with the earth. And this might be a connection point through the mat, through maybe carpet or flooring, maybe even through the foundation of your home. But that all of these layers are still in touch with the earth and connecting us kind of to that source. If you want to plug in, so to speak, this morning, we can start with the Boom Mudra, which is the peace fingers or the first two fingers on either hand. And just allowing them to kind of come out and low to the sides, touching into the earth. We can even gently press the fingertips down and use that as a point of rising up through the crown of the head. A little bit of a counter pressure. We give ourselves time to just, as we plug into the earth, release anything that we don't need to hold on to going forward. We could imagine these things maybe coming out through the exhale or releasing down through the shoulders, the arms, out through the hands and the fingertips. The earth can take away what we don't need to hold on to. Giving ourselves a chance to recharge with a deep, clean breath. Maybe allowing the low belly to relax and expand with the inhale. Maybe allowing ourselves to open up through the rib cage in all directions. Breathing all around the body. And lastly, allowing ourselves to even notice that the breath can come up into the collarbones, filling the upper lobes of the lungs and the chest. Working to bridge those three parts of our breath together with an inhale, starting to fill the low belly. Allow the middle ribs to expand. And then breathing high into the collarbones with that last part of the inhale. With the exhale, trying to release from the top down. So exhaling from the collarbones, releasing the breath in the rib cage, and finally exhaling out the low belly. Maybe even the navel draws in toward the spine with the last of that exhale. And then just allowing yourself to attune to the breath in this way. Thinking of it as filling from the bottom up. And exhaling or emptying from the top down. We'll take a few more rounds of breath like this if you wish to. You can keep the hands plugged in here. Or if you'd like to, or prefer a different movement, you can also raise the arms with the in-breath. Noticing that we're filling from the top, from the bottom and up, and then releasing from the top and down. So the hands can illustrate that movement and intention as well. Filling through the low body, filling through the middle ribs, filling up through the collarbones. Exhaling, releasing from the collarbones, out through the rib cage, and exhaling out the low belly. Maybe another 2 breaths like this if you like. Allowing it to be true to your own pace, It doesn't have to match my speed. But noticing that gentle rhythm of your own breath, that full capacity of the breath to come in, and that long, slow exhale, pacing the movement to match. Maybe taking one more breath here together. Lifting through the crown of the head. This time maybe hands come together. You can bring them down to heart with the exhale. Pressing the palms together to help open the shoulders and the heart space in the front of the chest. Maybe gently bowing the chin a little bit with the exhale here. Inviting any intention or wish that you might have for your day or for your practice today. Drawing on that collective intention for gratitude, allowing ourselves to stay mindful of what is present in support of ourselves, in support of our journey today. We may not have everything that could make our lives as easy as possible, but we can look around and notice the abundance of blessings that are a part of our life. Maybe gently starting to name some of those things to yourself. Maybe taking another deep breath in here, arms can sweep up. With an exhale, maybe allowing ourselves to place one hand down, reaching up and over for a side body stretch here. Keeping the top shoulder open, rolling back and down. Maybe that deep extension through the elbow, the wrist and the fingers on that upper hand. You can even take the gaze up toward the hand if you like to, or keep the gaze kind of neutral. Allowing yourself to continue to extend through the spine even as we lean over and create more space there in the side body. A couple of breaths here, filling into the side rib cage especially. Maybe bringing that intention through that 3-part breath, inhaling through the belly, the ribs and the collarbones. Exhaling from the top, through the middle, and out the belly when you're ready. Maybe another breath like this. When you're feeling ready to rise back up, taking an inhale, maybe those thumbs touch or meet together. With the exhale, the other hand can stay low, the left or the other arm here rising up first and then over. So giving that nice long extension before taking the side bend. Allowing yourself to notice, where is the gaze comfortable? Can you roll that top shoulder back and down any further? Giving that space to open the heart. Shoulders can be relaxed away from the ears as well. Choosing that extension through the arm that feels comfortable to you. Could be a little, could be a lot. Maybe adding that 3-part breath or a deep breath that feels good to you. Minding full inhales and full exhales. Maybe one more breath like this together. Good. Finding an inhale to rise up when you're ready. Maybe again those thumbs come to touch and the hands meet in the center. Giving the gaze a lift as well. Maybe taking the exhale to drop the arms like we're holding a giant beach ball. It's a chance to kind of rest the shoulders away from the ears. Open up through the heart. Really tuck those shoulder blades behind you onto the back and flattening them. Space for a couple of breaths here if you like. Good. Maybe taking one more inhale, raising the hands back up to center. With an exhale, they can just release down by the sides. Good. Allowing ourselves to maybe readjust the position. The legs can come out in front of you perhaps. Maybe bouncing into the knees a little bit or rotating those feet side to side. An option for a seated forward bend here. Legs can come out long, heels pressing away, lifting through the crown of the head to extend the spine, a little tilt forward at the top of the pelvis. So if you think of those kind of pelvic bones pressing a little bit forward, the tailbone can kind of angle back and down. Nice deep breath when you're ready to lift up through the arms. Inhaling here and then exhaling, allowing yourselves to fold or lean forward any amount. If you have any soreness in the back, the low back. You might keep the body nice and straight, lifting through the crown of the head, gentle tuck of the chin. If you like to follow yourself kind of rounding in the spine, maybe the hands walk down toward the feet or lower onto the legs. The head can get heavy here, maybe drawing the forehead toward the knees. Allowing ourselves to drop back into that intentional breath, maybe taking it in 3 parts, noticing even with a forward bend if we can still feel any of the belly. Maybe this time space expands into the back of the rib cage more than the front. Maybe allowing that breath to come up through the tops of the shoulders and the collarbones together. Finishing that breath with the exhale from the top down. And then taking yourself through that cycle as intentional as you want to be here. Inviting about 2 more breaths in this shape here. Maybe relaxing to your fullest depth with the last exhale or 2. You're welcome to stay a little bit longer if you wish to. You don't have to change when I change. When you are ready, taking a deep breath in to rise up, maybe with both hands. Good. We can extend those arms back behind here. Take a little bit of a lifted back bend. Fingertips pointing away behind you. And then just pressing the hands into the earth to help lift the heart. The gaze can come back a little bit here as well. Maybe taking a little bit of a stretch through the throat. If you really like a nice throat and jaw stretch, you can take an underbite, the lower jaw coming over the upper jaw here. Another breath or 2 in this shape if you like it. Finishing out, really squeezing those shoulder blades together. Maybe allowing yourself on the next inhale to drop the gaze down toward the toes to help release the shape. And then gently finding ourselves coming back up to a tall position. Go ahead and just take those feet around behind. Start to transition here to hands and knees perhaps if that's available to you. If you like cushion underneath the knees, you can use a blanket here. You can also double up the mat instead. If you have sensitive wrists or carpal tunnel at all, you can always fold the mat back into a triple stack. Let the thick part be cushioning the base of the hands or the heels of the hands, and allowing the fingers to kind of flow down toward the floor. Maybe taking a little bit of side-to-side movement in the hips here if you like to. A little bit of a wag of the tail. Maybe allowing yourself to tune into the breath. Maybe there is a certain number of beats for the inhale, 2 or 3 beats for the inhale, perhaps 2 to 3 beats for the exhale. If you like to, we can take the tailbone in a big circle, moving into a little bit more of that range of motion through the hips, the tops of the legs. Just allowing everything to have space to be free and open here. Sometimes we can get kind of stuck in the place of stiffness here in the deep core, the stabilizer muscles, the hips and the glutes. Just want to invite all of that to be free, to catch a little bit of breath and life force as we draw those breaths in. You can take circles different directions here, just working toward balance, one direction to the next. We'll go ahead and find ourselves coming back to a centered place or a tabletop pose here when you're ready. Centering the knees right beneath the hips and the wrists just directly beneath the shoulders. Maybe those fingers spread out a little bit wider here for a nice base of support. You can practice taking those fingertips into the earth with a little bit more pressure, helping to release some of the stress on the wrists. We'll move into a little bit of cat-cow breath, inhaling for cat pose, cow pose, dropping the belly, tilting the pelvis, lifting the gaze here. With the exhale, tucking the tailbone under, tucking the chin toward the chest, raising the back, squeezing the breath out. Nice deep inhale to lift the gaze, tilt the tail, drop the belly. Exhaling, rounding the back, tucking the chin and tail under. Feeling free to move at your own pace. Inhaling to raise the gaze. Exhaling to round the back. Maybe allowing this to be a bit of a check-in too. What parts of the spine feel very mobile? What parts of the spine feel stiff and like there isn't space for those movements to be made? And as you recognize these less mobile places in yourself, just bringing that intention for you to create that space over time. To be able to listen to the voice of the body, yes, and that spirit of gratitude for what it already does for us. And notice if we can do anything to support ourselves being able to enjoy better health, more flexibility, more mobility. Giving ourselves the chance to tune into the bodies and what we need. And honoring that voice of need with response. So choosing to do something to care for yourself or make that mobility more part of your life. Maybe taking it one more time here. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Maybe allowing yourself to move toward a child's pose. Hips can come back toward the heels. Arms maybe extending out in front of you or tucking in by the sides. You can choose. Maybe that forehead comes down toward the ground, even if it doesn't touch, that's okay. Noticing if you can relax the space in the back of the neck. If there's any tension in the brow or the jaw, maybe letting that soften here. Maybe once again coming back to that sense of three-part breath, breathing through the belly, and then the ribs, and then the collarbones. Exhaling from the top down, from the collarbones to the rib cage, to the low belly. And does that feel different here in this shape than other shapes that we've practiced so far today? And in any of these shapes, you can bring back to mind that intention, or maybe that collective intention for gratitude today. Breathing that in with every breath, allowing it to become more part of you. Good. We're going to blend this shape here with a little bit of that cat-cow movement, but this time coming from the child's pose, forward through table pose, and toward a cobra pose. So dropping the hips toward the ground at the top of that inhale. With the exhale, pressing it back toward the child's pose, letting the back round, the head be soft. Next in-breath, rising forward through table pose, maybe taking it all the way forward to the cobra. Exhaling to press it back when you're ready, letting the spine round and soften. Offering time here for a few more rounds, maybe 3 or 4 more rounds like this, if you like. Could be more, could be less. You can always change the shape or find something else that works better for you. It's just a way of continuing to bend and flex the spine and bringing some more of that movement into the major joints of the body. 1 or 2 more rounds, moving with the breath, inhaling as we move forward and exhaling as we move back. Maybe finishing with 1 more round here. Finding that exhale. Gently rising back up here toward a table pose when you're ready. Option for a little bit of a balance challenge here. Lifting the right leg off the ground, maybe pressing the heel straight behind you. If you like to practice a little bit deeper, you can start to lift the left hand off the ground. It could just be coming up to the left fingertips, or rising that left arm all the way in front of you. If you have that lift on the arm, imagining the arm and leg is an extension of the spine. So we're still stretching from the top to the bottom here. Reaching through the fingers, reaching through the heel, allowing the spine to be long. Breath to be deep. Another inhale or two here. Maybe that balance is getting a little bit wobbly, that's okay. Maybe one more breath to lift, just a little higher. With the exhale, gently bringing hand and foot or hand and knee back down, maybe taking a little bit of that sway side to side. If there's any stress in the wrists, of course, being able to come off of those, maybe give yourself a little bit of a wiggle or a little bit of counter stretch. If there's been a lot of pressure one direction, we can release the wrists the other direction. Taking your time with the transitions, no rushing here today. And when you're ready, we will take it back for that second side. So hit pause if you need to. If you're watching the video, you can, not on the live, I guess, but if you're watching the video later, you can hit pause and take care of yourself, coming back when you're ready. This time we'll take the other side. Let's scoot forward a little. Taking the left foot straight back this time, heel pressing away. Lengthening through the back of the neck, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. So we're lengthening through the spine. And then choosing if you want to start to add that challenge, the right hand can come forward. Or maybe raise all the way up if that feels good to you. With that supporting hand, again, any amount of pressure you want to bring forward into the fingertips helps reduce the stress on the wrists. So think about that action. Maybe play with it if it feels okay to you. Good. Keeping the core body nice and strong. Continuing to reach forward and back. Another breath or two if you like. Taking one more breath perhaps. Coming to release down when you feel ready. Hand and knee to the ground. Again, you can kind of take care of yourself however you need to. Can even be coming off of the hands, giving your wrists a little bit of movement or wiggle here. You can even shake it out if that feels good. A little bit of counter stretch perhaps, drawing those fingertips down toward the forearm. Good. Taking just another moment or two here for whatever it is that you might need to release some of those shapes. We'll go ahead and bring the hands back to the floor if they have lifted off. Tucking the toes underneath you if you'd like to. Fingers spread nice and wide, hands shoulder width apart. Lifting the hips up and drawing it back here for downward facing dog. If you like, you can pedal the feet here, alternating a bend in each knee. You might also practice rising and lowering on the toes if that feels good to you. A little bit more work for the ankles, the arches, the calf muscles. Maybe get some pops and clicks out, that's okay. You might choose to just settle into the shape, really pressing the heart toward the floor through the arms. Maybe relaxing and softening the head and the neck, maybe gently nodding yes and no, checking freedom at the base of the skull. Maybe pressing those heels toward the ground behind you just a little bit deeper. Another breath or two here if you like. An option to either walk those feet forward toward the hands, or come to ground the knees and take a bigger, safer step. We'll move toward the feet here, toward standing shapes. You can take one big step at a time, supporting yourself on the way up. We'll go ahead and come all the way up to standing. So you might roll up a little bit if you are in a forward fold. Allowing ourselves to find a position here in mountain pose. Feet can be hip width distance or a little bit closer. Maybe the big toes come to touch. Allowing ourselves to start to ground in, digging our roots of gratitude here. Noticing the soles of the feet on the ground. Feeling ourselves through our footprint. Can we notice each toe connected to the earth? Can we feel the pads and the balls of the feet? Can we notice a lift through the arches and connection on the outer edges of the feet? Can we tell that there's some weight supported in the heel? We might give ourselves that intention, drawing the energy up into the legs, maybe wrapping the calf muscles in toward the bones and drawing the shins in. Maybe taking a little bit of a lift in the kneecaps. It's not locking the knees out and back, but it's a slight like micro bend. Just lifting into the kneecaps, strengthening the quadriceps here as you're ready, and the hamstrings behind you. Maybe drawing the glutes under, tucking the tailbone nice and flat underneath. The navel can come in toward the spine here, so that's the setup of the low body. As we move into the cues of the upper body, staying in connection with all of those refinements. Maybe allowing ourselves to roll the shoulders back and down. Keeping the heart open and shoulders away from the ears. Arms might spread with energy, maybe fingertips are open here. And that little lift through the crown of the head, lengthening the back of the neck. And in that tall, stable mountain shape. Nice and firm. If you'd like to, you can rise the arms up overhead, taking it into a taller mountain pose. Palms can be parallel, or you can connect the hands if you choose. If you want to practice a little bit of balance here, you can come off of the heels and onto just the balls of the feet a little bit. Maybe holding that toe balance, or you can lift and lower as the balance allows. If you notice the ankles rolling out to the side, trying your very best to keep them moving straight forward and back. Building that strength over time. Good. Maybe taking one more breath or lift here. With the exhale, releasing the heels down slowly and with control. Maybe also allowing ourselves to soften the arms. We can take it all the way forward, even softening into the knees. Maybe the hands trace the legs. We can rest the chest on the thighs here. Allow the head and neck to be soft. If you prefer another form of forward fold, you can also lengthen through the legs and just let the upper body hang forward. You can choose this if you like. Just take a couple of breaths here in this gentle inversion. The head coming a little bit below the heart. If that's stressful for you in any way, feel free to come back to a halfway fold, supporting the hands on the knees or the shins. Good. Taking another breath or two here if you like. Allow yourself to maybe gently roll up one vertebra at a time, starting with a bend in the knees, pointing the tailbone underneath, and then stacking each vertebrae on the one before. Slowly, slowly. Good. Rolling the shoulders back and down as we arrive back in standing. We'll move into our standing flow here, taking a nice deep breath in when you're ready. Lifting the arms up, you can bring the palms together this time. Maybe take a little back bend at the top if you like. The exhale, lowering forward and down into a fold. Deep breath in here to find halfway lift, rising with your inhale to a flat back, shoulders away from ears, spine extending. Exhaling, coming back into any depth of fold. You can bend the knees or you can keep them straight. Lifting into the heart, lifting the gaze, bending into the knees to rise up to standing here. Back bend option at the top if you like. And exhaling, hands coming back in towards center. Good, so we'll take a couple more rounds just like that. Deep breath in to sweep up. Back bend option. Exhaling to come forward and down. Any amount. Can be halfway, bending in the knees, or all the way forward. Deep breath in to rise halfway if you aren't there already. Exhaling to release forward and down into fold. Bending the knees, lifting the heart. Deep breath in to standing. Back bend option. And exhaling hands in towards center. Good. Deep breath in. A couple more rounds. Starting to flow with moving meditation. One phase of breath for each movement. Inhaling as we expand or open the shape. Exhaling when we fold or compress the shape. Rising with breath. Back bend option. Exhaling hands into center, maybe for this last round, bringing in that spirit of gratitude. Sweeping all the goodness from the outside into yourself. Honoring by touching the earth. Deep breath in to rise halfway. Length through the backs of the legs here. Exhaling, coming forward and down if you like. Deep breath in to lift the heart and the gaze. Rising towards standing, back bend option. And exhaling, hands coming into center. Good. We'll take it into a little bit of chair pose from here. You can adjust the distance in the feet if you wish to. Setting the hips back and down like we're sitting in an invisible chair. Knees are back behind the toes. If you notice yourself kind of way out over those toes, you might have to lift up a little bit to get the weight back into the heels. And then working your way gently down over time. The hands are pressing firmly on heart center to help open the collarbones and drop the shoulders away from the ears. Good. Back of the neck is still long here. You might be gripping into the glutes a little bit more to help you stabilize this shape or find the action and strength you need. The deeper you go, the more you work, so you can choose. Do you want to sink a little bit more just in this last breath or two? Finding an inhale when you're ready to rise back up nice and strong, maybe lifting the arms here. And exhaling, giving it away with a deep exhale. We'll take a cleansing breath, sweeping the hands if you like to. Nice exhale with a sigh. Good. Let's move into a little bit more of our sun salutation here. Maybe coming toward the top of the mat if that works for you. Allowing yourself to start with hands at heart center. We'll take one breath in preparation, just a nice full deep inhale. And full exhale. When you're ready, taking a sweeping breath, arms can rise up. Back bend option at the top here. Exhaling to come forward and down into your fold. Rising to halfway lift here. Exhaling this time, hands touching the ground, stepping or walking the feet back, downward facing dog. Inhaling if you like to, coming toward a plank pose. You can drop the knees here if you wish to. With the exhale, allowing yourself to release the chest down, but the elbows stay in by the body. So we're releasing with strength. Inhaling, an option to come here to a low cobra pose, just peeling the heart off the floor with an in-breath. Exhaling, releasing the chest back down, strength into the fingers in both hands. And with the next in-breath, pushing up like a push-up here for our plank pose, knees up or down. Exhaling, maybe pressing it back here to downward facing dog. Heels reaching toward the floor behind you. Good. Taking a step or a walk forward here toward the top of the mat. Inhaling to find a halfway lift. Exhaling to come forward into your fold. Bending into the knees, deep breath to rise toward standing. Back bend option at the top. Exhaling, hands coming into center. Good. We'll take it just this exact same way here. Another round. Deep breath in to sweep up. Back bend option. Exhaling to come forward and down here. Inhaling to rise to halfway lift. Nice flat back. Exhaling, hands to ground, stepping or walking feet back here. Downward facing dog. Inhaling to come forward toward plank pose. Knees up or down. Exhaling, you can lower toward the floor. Elbows stay in by the body. Inhaling to rise up, cobra pose. Peeling the heart, using that back strength for the lift. Exhaling to release the chest when you're ready. Pushing up here, coming back to plank, knees up or down. And exhaling, pressing back into downward facing dog. Stepping or walking those feet forward toward the hands. You can make a bigger step 1 foot at a time. We'll rise to halfway lift here and meet together on the inhale. Exhaling, coming forward and down into fold. Deep breath in to lift and rise. Back bend option here. And exhaling, hands into center. Good. 2 more rounds like that. Deep breath in to rise up. And allowing yourself to start to move into that meditative state. Breath and body flowing together. Inhaling to find your half lift when you're ready. Good. Exhaling, hands to ground. Stepping or walking both feet back. Downward facing dog. Deep breath in to come forward toward plank pose when you're ready. Exhaling to lower toward the floor. Inhaling to rise up to low cobra, or you can take a different shape if you like. Exhaling to release the chest here. Strength into the hands, pushing up for plank pose. Deep breath in. And exhaling, pressing back to downward facing dog. Lifting through the tailbone. Inhaling to walk or step forward here toward halfway lift. Inhale. And exhale here, releasing down into fold. Soft head and neck at the bottom. Deep breath in to rise up towards standing. Lifting through the heart, back bend option. Exhaling, hands into center. 1 more time, just like that. Deep breath in when you're ready. Moving through gratitude. What does that mean in each of these shapes? Halfway lift. Exhale into fold, stepping or walking the feet back, down dog. Inhaling forward when you're ready, plank pose. Exhaling, releasing toward the ground, elbows in. Inhaling, lifting through the heart, shoulder blades squeezing together on the back. Exhaling to release the chest all the way down. Inhaling to rise, plank pose. Exhaling, pressing back, downward facing dog. Inhaling to walk or step the feet forward, raising toward halfway lift with the in-breath. Exhaling to find forward fold when you're ready. Deep breath in, bending into the knees. Rising to standing, back bend option. And exhaling, hands coming into heart center. Good. We'll take a pause here. You can close the eyes or just soften the gaze down. Coming back toward mountain pose. Hands can be at heart center, or you can release them by the sides, you choose. Maybe coming back to find all the strength that we noticed earlier in the feet and the legs. Noticing if there is more control, more power available now that we've kind of warmed up, we've asked the muscles to come online and get connected to the rest of the nervous system in these ways. They now are charged and ready, energized with breath and life force to help us move through the day and through the rest of our lives with possibility. Allowing ourselves to step the feet a little bit wider here if you like to. Maybe lifting the arms out by the sides, reaching through the fingertips to help draw the shoulders down and spread them open. Good. This is a 5-point star shape. We can tilt the hips side to side here just to help free up more space. If you notice yourself arcing a lot through the low back and sticking the booty back, notice if you can kind of move through these next series of shapes with the tailbone tucked under. Good. We'll move into a little bit of triangle pose here, taking the left foot, at least my left foot here, toward the front. The right foot, toes turn out toward the side, so if the heels were to meet in the middle, it would be a 90-degree angle. Good. Allowing ourselves to press through the left hip here and reach through the right hand. When we can't reach any longer, then we tilt. Rising through the left arm here, right hand can just rest on the leg. If you like to go a little bit deeper, you can reach toward the floor or toward a block or book for support. But noticing that if you do make that big reach, that you're doing it with intention and safety. If we can, we want to keep the tailbone tucked, Length coming through the side body here. And the other arm reaching up overhead. The gaze can come up toward those fingers if you like, or can stay down toward the foot. You can choose. Giving ourselves a sense of breath here, maybe coming back to that 3-part breath. What does it feel like in this shape? Maybe 1 or 2 more breaths. As we hold the pose, notice if we can strengthen through the legs like mountain pose. Keep extending through the spine. On the next inhale, perhaps rising up, reversing kind of our approach to this shape with strength and control. You can turn those feet back toward center here. We'll take the same shape to the other side. So this time the right toes turning toward the front, left toes toward the side, or vice versa depending on your shape. You can again kind of press through the right hip or the back hip, extending forward, reaching through the left arm this time, tilting down when we can't reach any further. Hand can rest on the leg, upper hand extending toward the ceiling, really reaching through those fingers here, helping the shoulder to open. The heart space to have room for breath and life to move through it. Good. Keeping that tailbone tucked under for that oblique stretch right there in the side body. A nice deep breath moving through. Maybe noticing what we're grateful here on this side or at this time. Honoring the shape and yourself with deep breath. 1 more full inhale and full exhale. Inhaling to rise up when we're ready. Reversing that tilt. Coming back up to standing. Feet can turn back towards center here. Maybe taking that side-to-side movement in the hips. And at this point the arms might need a little bit of a break. So we might shake or wiggle those a little bit here. You can get soft in the knees. Good. Allowing ourselves to take it a little bit deeper, coming forward into a fold if you like to from our straddle. Maybe releasing the upper body down so the hands can reach down toward the floor. Sides here. Good. So you can release the upper back and upper body if you like to. Soften the head and neck a little bit. Allow yourself to droop. If there's any unsafety with inversion, you can always stay in a flat back place or support yourself, hands on the legs here so that the head and heart stay on level. That's totally fine. Good. Allowing ourselves a little bit more side stretch. Walking both hands over to the left side to start toward the left foot. Just taking a little bit of action there through the inner side of the leg this time. Taking some nice deep breaths in this shape. Allowing yourself to notice where you're feeling stretch. If you can, start to place the breath in those opening muscles. Imagining that the lungs are sitting right there. We can breathe in and literally expand open that part of the body with the inhale. Maybe giving it 1 more breath on this side if you like. When you're ready to come over toward the other side, walking hands through the center. Hands maybe moving over toward the right foot this time. They might both touch, they might not, that's okay. And then again here, noticing where you're feeling stretch. Giving yourself some deep breath, moving into those tight places. Even as we're stretching and adding strength in this shape, noticing where else we can find softness. Balancing our effort and our ease. You might find tension in the face or the jaw that can be softened here. Maybe giving the shape one more deep breath, expanding the tight spaces with the breath. Good. An option to bring both hands here through center, inviting a little bit of a twisting shape this time. The left hand can stay grounded on the floor below you, and then the right arm may be rising up and open here. And if that doesn't work, sometimes it's hard to reach the ground. You can grab a block or a book, something that's a little bit stable, and also help you to reach the floor as we open through the heart. So know that that's always an option as well. As we're getting that twisting space open, the top shoulder is rolling back and down again. The heart is open. The fingertips are extending here to help create space. And gently bringing out the body as we do in our twisting shapes. One more breath. With the exhale, maybe releasing it down. You might take a moment here just to rest and center. You can bend into the knees if they need a little bit of softness. Take anything that you need for transition, and then we'll work our way toward the other side. This time the right hand stays grounded, maybe rising up, the left arm up and open. Gaze can come up toward those fingers above you. Extending through the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and fingers here. If you need a block or a book for support on that low hand, feel free to take it. There is no judgment about using props. Often it just changes the angle slightly to target different muscles. So depending on what your body may need, that can be a good boost from one day to the next. You might find that some days you like it, some days you don't. Good. Continuing to give a couple more breaths here to this space. Taking it slow today so we can stay intentional, stay connected with the way that we move our breath. Maybe giving it one more deep inhale here if you like. And with the exhale, allowing ourselves to gently rotate back down. Again, you might find some softness into the knees, maybe bending one at a time, or both together. You might find the upper body needs to relax a little bit. You might sway it side to side or balance it a little bit. From here, we'll go ahead and just work our way toward the floor. So if you like to, maybe coming to bring the hands around to one end of the mat, you might walk those feet in toward kind of the center behind you, taking it back to a downward facing dog. Again, you might pedal the feet if you like, or you might just practice in stillness, reaching those heels back toward the ground, relaxing the neck, allowing the heart to move toward the floor just a little bit more. Maybe taking one more breath or so here if you like. The exhale, maybe those knees come to drop toward the ground. You might rock back into a child's pose and just take a little moment of rest. Upper body relaxing onto the legs. Arms can be in front or tucked in by the sides here. Forehead toward the ground. Maybe it touches, maybe it doesn't. This being a very restorative pose, allowing yourself to focus on the sound and the feel of your breath. Maybe notice how it feels moving through the nostrils, through the throat, into the lungs. Noticing if you can channel that breath back into that 3-part inhale and exhale. One more nice deep breath or so here if you like. press up to a seat here. Take the hips to the floor, maybe working those feet back around the side. And finding the center of the mat with the hips, we're going to go ahead and release back. Maybe taking it with a little bit of strength here, maybe walking those feet a little closer to the hips. You might start by wrapping the hands or arms around the legs to help establish a nice tall spine. So we're propped up on the sit bones, directly beneath us, tilting that pelvis forward to help lift up through a straight, flat back. Shoulders are away from the ears, crown of head extending. Maybe from here you start to notice that level of strength, how much is in the arms versus how much is in the body. You can start to release, even if it's just one arm at a time or a little bit. It doesn't even have to be a full release. Notice how much of that strength you're holding in the arms versus holding in the core. And then if you like to lower yourself down nice and slowly here, you can take it one vertebra at a time to the ground. Keeping the chin tucked to the chest helps to maintain that core strength. You might notice that at some point you hit a steep drop. That's okay. Just noticing it will even it out over time. As you arrive on the floor, maybe noticing a desire to wrap the knees into the chest. Again, this time from the supine position. Maybe rolling side to side if that feels good to you. If you like to find happy baby, you can raise the feet up overhead, clasp either the big toes with the peace fingers, again those first two fingers on the hands, wrapping those around the big toes. You can clasp the inner or outer arches of the feet, and even rock side to side here if that feels good to you. Elbows are on the insides of the knees here. No need to rock if you like to just sit and stretch, hanging out with the shape. You can do that too. If you'd like to move into a little bit more of a reclined straddle, with or without a handhold, you can straighten through the knees, extend the legs. If you have a toe hold, balancing the press of the toe and the pull of the finger. Nice deep breath here. Maybe one more deep inhale if you like. With the full exhale, maybe releasing the bottoms of the feet coming together and releasing those feet toward the floor, opening into our reclined bound angle or reclined cobbler's pose. Arms can just gently rest by the sides here. If you prefer to set them on the belly or the heart, they can also rest there. And in this shape, just allowing the knees to be open. Maybe a little bit of stretch there for the tops of the legs and hip flexors. Maybe you notice that stretch other places, so just being conscious of where you're feeling, how intense that feeling may be for you. If you need to soften or reduce that intensity a little bit, you can always bring in cushions or blankets underneath the legs or the knees here to provide a little support. If it feels comfortable to just kind of hang out with gravity, allow yourself to just one muscle at a time, notice where you're holding tension and see if you can just start to soften it a little bit more with each breath. Maybe taking 2 or 3 more breaths here as you choose. When you feel ready to release that shape, maybe drawing those knees in towards center. And those knees can stay together if you like to, walking the feet out toward the edges of the mat. So you're creating a little bit of a triangle shape there. Noticing if the knees become sensitive, maybe you've gone a little too far, you can step those feet just closer, a little bit closer again. But this way, just getting a little internal rotation on the hips. You might notice some opening in the low back, the sacral spine. So allow yourself to breathe into that if you can notice or feel that there. Giving yourself just a few rounds of breath. Maybe 2 more inhales here if you like. Finishing the final exhale as you're ready. And then walking those feet back in towards center. Maybe shifting the knees side to side like windshield wipers. Helping just to release any tension. From here, you might allow yourself to take any other stretches, shapes, or movements that you may need. If you feel ready to just take a little moment of final relaxation, maybe extending the legs down long. Arms can rest by the sides, palms facing up and fingers just gently allowed to curl up. You can cover with a blanket at this point if you want to create a little more coziness or warmth. Any other props or supports that may need to come in for you to be comfortable, feel free to add those. Just inviting the last couple of minutes here to be a space of rest, restoration, recovery. As we allow ourselves a little bit of stillness, we invite the body to integrate all the benefits of this practice. To allow all of these new spaces we've opened, all the new length in the muscles, for all of that to become part of our long-term truth. Giving the body time to absorb what we've made possible in this practice. And allow that gift to be kind of cemented into us as a part of our truth. So allowing yourself to do nothing. Allow yourself perfect stillness, just noticing the flow of the breath. Just gently riding the wave of the breath as it comes in and flows back out. Just taking a few moments to recognize the stillness and this flow of breath. This is your life right here. Allowing yourself simply to be in this place and time. Allowing yourself a slightly deeper or fuller breath. Maybe breathing all the way down into the toes and the fingers. If you like to create or maintain stillness and calm, you might do so for the next 5 or 10 or even 20 minutes. A gift to yourself. If you are ready to change the shape or move into the rest of your day, you might start by adding some slow movements, wiggling fingers and toes, circling the wrists and the ankles, maybe taking any other stretches or shapes that you need now. You might gently draw the knees into the chest for another hug, or just wrapping the arms around the body, giving love to yourself. You might allow yourself to roll to one side. Start to press back up to a seated shape if that's how you would like to end the practice today. Maybe bringing the hands to heart center as you arrive. And again, if you prefer to just stay grounded and soft, please feel free to do so. It's encouraged. As we allow ourselves to close this practice together, tapping back into that collective intention for gratitude. May gratitude inform every step, that we have the capacity to move our bodies, to use our instruments for the good work we do in the world. That this is a gift that we both receive from the life that we live in the universe that supports us, as well as the way that we transmit gifts to others and to the whole world. Maybe allowing ourselves to seal these intentions with a chant of 3 Om or 3 Hum. If you'd like to join me, feel free to do so. If you'd like to just receive, that is also welcome. Maybe starting with a nice deep breath here. Honoring the light, the love, and the divine in each of you. Namaste.
Namaste.